Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sniper signing in to Command & Conquer Riddler 3 on the map Magmageddon, spawning on the bottom left side for team number 1 as the Green Empire player. This is Mate Laptop Emmy. Just gonna shorten that up to Emmy for the duration of this game. His ally spawning as the Blue Soviets player in the middle position. This is Mr. P, with no associated team name at all from what I can gather. And rounding off team number 1 is the Yellow Allies player in the Vindies fashion of color selection. This is General R.A. And their opponents starting off with team number 2 on the top right hand position as the Orange Soviets player. This is Mexican. And his first ally as the Red Empire player, near and dear to my own heart, picking that Empire faction. This is Rage of Heat. And rounding out team number 2 as the Purple Soviets player, this is Prometheus. Now, 3v3 on Magmageddon has some serious potential to get really wonky. Micro battles already starting here in the early game. Bear v Bear and Mr. P will indubitably gain the upper hand from that first scouting game. Docs first, coming out for your first production structure here on the bottom side for Mr. Emmy. Emmy, that is a bit of a risk, as that leaves a serious window of opportunity over here for Prometheus if he was looking to put on some early land-based pressure and a third ref on top of that. 3 refs into a docks. And if Prometheus was looking to put on some early game pressure, then with this docks coming out, he's virtually defenseless, or Emmy rather, would be virtually defenseless against something that came over here on the ground, whether it was some sickles or some infantry or what have you. There wouldn't be very much that he could do to stop this without getting that tier 2 upgrade on the Imperial Docks to get some sky wings out to potentially stop anything that comes early game on the ground. Tengu's already taken to the skies. Crusher Crane coming out as well for Mr. P down there in the center. Crusher Crane going to allow for him to continuously build his base back home while taking a very aggressive position with his MCV here in the center of the map, putting down a war factory. Going to look to see about asserting some map control very early on indeed. Double harassment, but that Tesla coil is going to finish up here in the main base. That was about to be triple harassment, rather. That was triple harassment. But 2 of those collectors are now saved and are perfectly fine and good to go thanks to that Tesla coil. Flak Troop is going to be chasing away the last remaining Tengu. Now the Tengus have rotated down south to Mr. Emmy's base, and they're going to give him a hard time, a very hard time indeed. I'm trying to keeping a close eye on that mini-map for any other signs of battle or conflict. But so far, things pretty quiet on the map, aside from these, this Tengu harass going down, and so much so that Mr. P is actually throwing down a Tesla coil in the base of Emmy to try and protect those collectors just that little bit extra more. Did save those collectors, but he's just got a lot of lost mining time right now. This collector out here in the water looks like did go down, but the lost mining time, that's really going to be hurting him here. But once he gets that up and running, oh, hello, Akula subs. We have a fast super reactor, and I believe Mr. Emmy is about to get firmly kicked out of the water. He's attempting to get something, but I believe he's cash stalled. And now the Akula subs out here on the water, even if a Naginata cruiser did get out here, it's Trooper, and the Terra drone got sniped down by the Akula subs. But even if a Naginata cruiser did manage to get out of that Imperial Docks, 2 Akula subs can very readily outgun that many, or that one Akula or that one Naginata cruiser. Cryocopter getting slapped out of the sky, thanks to some of Mexican's bullfrogs. That is definitely not a loss that that General R.A. wants to be taking up there at the top. And now some extra pressure coming in from Rage of Heat this time, getting those Chopper VXs to put on some early pressure onto Emmy's MCV. And Emmy's MCV would be in dire straits, but bullfrog from General P, or from Mr. P rather, not General P, from Mr. P is ready to clean them up, and Apollo fighters are responding from the north as well. So a nice little double pressure coming out from Prometheus and Rage of Heat. Those 2 working very well together in that first engagement. They seized an opportunity when they saw it But that hurts a little bit. Does get chased down, loses all of his air units, or all of the air units that Rage of Heat had sent down there to the south. Loses them to those Apollo fighters. And now Soviet infantry are starting to mass up from Mexican, completely somewhat ignoring General RA, even though General RA, I believe he could very easily just get most of his livelihood destroyed up here. But if he commits about it, there's the reasoning behind Mexican positioning where he is. There is some good reasoning behind it because of this position held by Mr. P here in the center of the map. If, say, for example, Mexican decided to send his infantry up to the top, then they would just get backflanked by this number of hammer tanks, which now, as the battle's heating up, Warbear's going to be doing a ton of work here, stunning out so many of these infantry units. And now they're all susceptible to being either crushed, shot at by the turret, or being eaten alive by the bears. That is a lot of damage that just went down. All of Mexican's army was just annihilated, and with that defeat, well, General RA, he's got some cryocopters, but he doesn't really have anything to follow up when the things are frozen. But now, Rage of Heat, there's a couple of battles happening on the map simultaneously. A little bit of harassment down here in the south. Looks like it is going to be cleaned up by Emmy for the time being. Rage of Heat being pushed back just a little bit, sending those Imperial Warriors forward to try and stall those Warbears, and actually sniping off a hammer tank on the quick turnaround, thanks to those tank busters and the fast, agile nature of the tsunami tanks, is going to get another one. Cryocopters are going to be coming in here, though. That's a lot of cryocopters. I think that might be the end of this push. All the tsunami tanks are either going to get frozen down or shrunk. That is very easily going to be the end of the push, and comboed up with the Warbears from Mr. P. That is the absolute end of Rage of Heat's army. And now Stingray incursion onto the beach of Emmy's primary base. Tesla Coil going down to try and protect it, using that generator for cover. So that generator is going to be destroyed. Tesla Coil will probably finish before anything too bad happens. And yes, oh no, the generator is actually not going to be destroyed. Stingrays are being forced off, up and away, back out into the water, and a little bit of counter harass or counter pressure looking to come in, comboing off the Air Force of General RA with some of the few remaining ground tanks of Mr. P down here, assaulting Prometheus's base, taking full advantage of the fact that his Stingrays are out of position currently out here on the water. There's not too much that's here to really defend it. I mean, there's some bullfrogs here from Mexican, but those bullfrogs, they are notoriously bad at shooting shooting at other ground targets. Very much so indeed. But now those cryocopters, they will not be long for this world. Between the Striker VXs and the bullfrogs responding, those things do not want to move forward at that time at all. They want to stay out of range of that anti-air if they know very well what's good for them. But now these tanks are cornered. These tanks are now separated thanks to the combined arms of Rage of Heat tsunami tanks and scattered infantry units, as well as the hammer tanks from Mexican, two of which actually now have the tsunami guns on them. So that will be something very powerful indeed. But speaking of power, Tesla Coil fully amped and ready to roll, as well a fresh batch of hammer tanks from Mr. P. Those hammer tanks, though, comboed off with that terror drone, that could be very disastrous for some of Team Right Side's units, or Team 2's units, as you get locked down by the terror drone, and then you just get leech beamed to death. And suddenly this is how you pick off just itty bitty little pieces of an army. A couple different harassments happening right here. Tango harass going out into the fourth naval refinery for Rage of Heat. But Tech 3, oh my goodness, a full Tech 3 transition has just hit the ground running. Natasha, Apocalypse tanks, Akirov even will have to monitor Mexican's position very much in the north with great eyes. Indeed, but down here in the middle, a lot of combat going to be going down. General P, he's got the distinct ground advantage here, and I think Rage of Heat it's getting to the point where he's going to need some help. But double checking this position back up here at the top, a shrunken Apocalypse tank. That's something I never thought I'd see. Apocalypse tanks getting crushed by Guardian tanks. That is unfortunate. Vindicator does go down, so you're gonna have to rely on that. Frozen Natasha. Oh, frozen Natasha. Bye, Natasha. Rage of Heat getting pushed back a little bit further. Gonna have to rely on his infantry units to try and hold that push from Mr. P down in the center of the map. Emmy is running into some trouble here. The base push coming out from Prometheus there in the center, but it did hit low power, so that base push is going to be stalled for just a little bit longer. Hammer tanks continuing to push forward. Point defense drones do go down, and that's a King Oni. King Oni using that bull rush ability, but then instantly locked down thanks to that Tesla Trooper. And now suddenly that King Oni loses. It's really not even worth its weight in scrap at this point. But that was a nice use of those Chopper VXs. Once they fell, then with the honorable discharge ability enacted, they fell, down they go, and General RA has actually been forced to tap out. Kirov made it to the base and went absolutely ham, and so did that Apocalypse tank apparently. Heroic Apocalypse tank with the miniature mushroom cloud explosions with every single shot. That is one of the most glorious sights ever seen in all of Riddler 3. More harassment coming down, King Oni responding. More MiGs looking to control the skies. That was a veteran, or no, heroic MiG up there in the skies. Does take heavy damage, but might be able to get some repairs, provided if there is a Crusher Crane. Tesla Coil, that's Blue's Tesla Coil. That is Blue's Tesla Coil. I totally mistook that totally when that was first built. However, now Tesla Coil still guarding the main part of the main base for Prometheus. Gonna make things a little bit easier. As Dreadnoughts are also out. Tier 3 Soviet naval bombardment units. That's a serious threat to those hammer tanks and their well-being. Dreadnought out here on their water. And Wave Force artillery trying to get some fire and force the MCV from Prometheus out of its position to dislodge it. And Kirov from Mexican. Sadly, I don't think we saw a heroic Apocalypse tank. Speaking of which, where is it? Oh, they're getting juggled. They just got juggled by Yuriko. We have a heroic Yuriko Omega on the map inside of an Apocalypse tank with a notoriously small health bar and one that is bleeding green fire. Kirov did get taken out. There lies the wreckage of the Kirov. Not able to get in range of one of those refineries, unfortunately for him. Emperor's Rage on the Wave Force artillery. That's something you don't see every day. King Onis, they're still deadly. Even if they're on very low health, they are still deadly indeed. Now Emmy's going to be responsible for a lot of things. All these tankers need to transform. Rage of Heat needs to transform. All the Kirov just got thrown to the ground. Is it going to go down? Is Yuriko going to go down? Yes, Yuriko does wind up going down. But that is the end of another Kirov, the end of the Tengus from Rage of Heat. Now, what have these players got left? Mexican's in a decent position up here at the top, but really he needs some form of anti-air. Which he could be producing MiGs, but it looks like he's producing twin blades, which he really MiGs they could just get camped by these Tengus. So he really needs some bullfrogs coming out, which he is producing now. However, now that he has some breathing room, he could look into also getting some MiGs online. Apocalypse tanks coming out from Prometheus as well. Now those could be very dangerous. That's a hammer tank with an Apocalypse gun. Speaking of glorious sights in the land of Red Alert 3, that is one of them. Stingray Invasion, Rocket Angels taking to the sky. What is this? It's almost like we're playing back in 2008 when the game first came out. Rocket Angels taking to the skies. Emmy taking advantage. Mates Emmy taking full advantage of the fact that he has got air superior. There's a lot of Rocket Angels over here. Using the paralysis ray to stun all of their anti-air, stunning the heroic Stingray. Yes, the MCV did go down. Yes, the nanotech mainframe did go down. Now, Cooler Subs are out here threatening this heroic Dreadnought, and now it's locked down. There's absolutely nothing that can happen here. That Tesla he needed the Tesla coil, I think, to take care, or Prometheus did. He needed that Tesla coil to take care of these Cooler Subs efficiently, but he also needed the flat cannon to take care of those Rocket Angels, which, you can't build a Tesla coil and a flat cannon simultaneously from the same construction yard, okay? I did the math. I checked. You can't do it. It doesn't work. And now these two Apocalypse tanks getting unfortunately locked down by a singular Tesla Trooper. Mexican. Looks like Natasha is, yes, indeed, we can see her symbol on the map. Natasha is back out on the map. Apocalypse tanks and did pilot snipe a King Oni. However, these Apocalypse tanks are very short for this world. And this King Oni, I think, is really only a matter of time before he goes down as well. And that is an elite King Oni. It's going to get off a lot of XP. Unfortunately, Rage of Heat does have another King Oni of his own. We'll probably get this refinery before anything too bad can otherwise happen. But now, Airwing of Jet Tango, seeing exactly what's going on, spots the fresh move of Apocalypse Tanks going for Emmy's base. Emmy's out of position, needs to relocate. Prometheus needs to be very, very careful. Needs to micro Emmy. Did lose a couple of extra, or a couple of more Rocket Angels than I think he really needed to there. Yuriko Omega still online. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And the second Yuriko Omega coming out. This Apocalypse Tank, that is really not long for this world. Couple of salvos later, and that is one dead Apocalypse Tank. So that is a lot of dead Prometheus units. At this point, Yari mini subs cleaning up what is left of the naval structures. No production capabilities left for Prometheus. Prometheus is effectively going to be forced out of this game. Mexican he's still standing up here, but he's kind of held a more passive role in this particular game. Nothing too terribly aggressive, but Rage of Heat is getting absolutely raffle stomped by this Yuriko Omega. It's in here somewhere, going straight after that Mecha Bay, or was it trying to anyway? Let's see if I can find that Yuriko Omega. What? Wait, what? Do you see this? Please tell me you guys see this. It's like the animation. You can see a little distortion on the ground right there. That's like the distortion of Yuriko's psionic hover. But she's invisible. We have an invisible Yuriko Omega. Invisible heroic Yuriko Omega at this point. Like, the health bar is not even showing up. Maybe it's just a replay bug. But if that actually happened in game, then that would be quite hilarious. That would be absolutely hilarious. Mexican trying to pull something off, trying to make something happen here. Well, very lucky that Twin Blade didn't get shot down, but really, at this point, V4 rocket inside of the base, it's not long for this way. It's only a matter of time, really, before that thing dies. And 12 of them, maybe a little bit longer. Maybe just a little bit longer, but no, there is another Twin Blade there, so it's just a matter of time. Still an invisible Yuriko. Explosions everywhere. Explosions are everywhere. Those tankers could very easily jump up the sky, but it's not even needed. Rage of Heat taps out, and so does Prometheus, as well as Mexican. I believe Prometheus was actually knocked out as his final structures were destroyed. But Rage of Heat and Mexican both tapped out when they realized the positions that they were currently in. GG, well played to these players. If at first you don't succeed, try again. One Yuriko Omega doesn't cut it, let's build another one. And another one. And another one, if you need to. But the return of the Rocket Angel, this game is a prime example of one of the few times in which a Rocket Angel is actually really effective. It's very incredibly effective. Is when you have air superiority or your opponent has a distinctive lack of AA. Either they didn't build the AA, or they just got it all or it's all been destroyed, or mostly been destroyed, and they don't really have the required or the necessary funds to rebuild that anti-air capacity. Which at this point in the game, Team Right Side, they really did not have the greatest army replenishment capability. They didn't have the greatest bank of resources, if I had to guess, just by witnessing that. There was a lot of high tier units that came out. A lot of Apocalypse tanks, some scattered V4s, a couple of Kirovs, King Oni, Wave 4s. Yes, Team Right Side, they really had a distinctive lack of a bank. All right, I mean, early on in that game, Team 2 had the definite advantage with the elimination of General RA3 here, right around the 10 and a half minute mark, thereabout. But other than that, Team Left Side, as it seems, let's see, blue, yellow, unfortunately perished, green. Blue held the eco advantage, Mr. P, pretty much the entire game. But then with mates Emmy down there at the bottom, when he started getting his foothold, once he started getting that momentum going with those Tangus, with those Rocket Angels, he would inevitably overtake the rest of Team Number 2. It was a very excellent game. 17 minutes and 43 seconds there. Let's see, Blue's income, 111,000 ore collected. Second by Mr. Emmy with 102,000. which that really does stack up over 200,000 ore versus this. But the combined income of all Mexican, Rage of Heat, and Prometheus, I believe, is around. It's close to, if not more, than the total combined income for Team Left Side. Really, I'm just kind of looking at these two. I'm just kind of looking at Emmy and Mr. P, given that General RA wound up biting the dust a little bit earlier than his teammates did. I think if down on the bottom side in the naval fight, if Prometheus didn't spend as much time focusing Navy, or if he had been more successful with his Navy, that could have made the game go a really different direction. He did do well at the beginning, managing to snipe out the Imperial docks. And if he had maybe sent some stingray harass around, is where that first Tesla coil was being produced by Mr. P to protect Emmy's base in the bottom left. That Tesla coil, it would have been arranged to protect the rightmost refinery closest to the cliffside, closest to the direction of Prometheus. However, it would have been out of range to protect the left side refinery that's closest to the map border, or Prometheus could have sent some harassment units around to the naval refinery, the fast third refinery that Emmy got kind of greedy with at the beginning of the game and took. And naturally, with being that greedy on Emmy's perspective, if you go for third ref as Empire, you're looking at 1,600 for 2 generators, 7,500 for the refineries, and then 1,000 for the docks. So that's right about your entire income. I'm pretty sure actually that's more than your. Is that more than your 10,000 income? 75, 85. Yeah, it's 100 more than your 10,000 income. But once you start earning a little bit of cash back from those collectors, once they make their first round, it all balances out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this return to the casting scene. Some more RA3 action is on the way. I have a lot of events to start hitting up, as well as possibly another game or two, Command & Conquer related, of course. But that is just a work in progress, so time will tell in the future. However, thank you guys so much for watching once again. I do hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. And this is Sniper, signing out.